It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hello and welcome to First Sports. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show, when is the right time to say goodbye and how will it affect your team? There are two such captains we'll talk about today. One, New Zealand's cricket captain Kane Williamson, who stepped down from white ball captaincy following a disastrous World Cup campaign. But what are the reasons that is the reason for his exit? Is it the right time? And of course, he's also refused the central contract. And then there is Cristiano Ronaldo. At the other end of the spectrum, he still believes there is much left in the tank. But can he deliver Portugal the promised silverware at the Euros? And we saw, of course, cricket in America. But what about cricket in Europe? One of the European countries recorded the fastest T20 century. Do Indian origin cricketers hold the key here? And does Europe have enough to be cricket's next destination? Stay on for that. But for now, it is time for Sports 360. Starting with cricket, Pakistan Cricket Board has threatened to take legal action against the fan who had engaged in a scuffle with Pakistan cricketer Haris Rauf. Rauf was involved in a heated argument with a fan who had reportedly made taunting comments, the video of which went viral. PCB, taken to X, has asked the fan to either apologize or face legal action. Over in football, sacked India coach Igor Stimac has warned the All India Football Federation of legal action as well. Stimac has warned he will file a lawsuit if his payments are not cleared within the next 10 days. According to Stimac's contract, he's owed $720,000 as severance, but reports suggest AIFF is only willing to pay $90,000. He also criticized the AIFF president and called his sacking unjust. Over in tennis, world number 3 Novak Djokovic of Serbia will feature in the Paris Olympics, so says the Olympic Committee of Serbia. Djokovic had withdrawn from the French Open earlier and is doubtful for Wimbledon now post his surgery. If he does play the Paris Olympics, this will be Djokovic's 5th such appearance. China announced its swimming contingent for the Paris Olympics. 11 swimmers included are ones implicated in a doping scandal. These swimmers had tested positive for a banned drug ahead of the Tokyo Olympics. The Chinese authorities back then had argued that the results had come from contaminated food. An Indian ace javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has won gold at the Paavo Nurmi Games in Finland. Chopra logged the best throw of the night, recorded 85.97 meters. This was Neeraj's maiden gold at the tournament. He'd skipped the event last year due to an injury. New Zealand cricketer Kane Williamson has stepped down as captain of white ball cricket too. Like most things he or New Zealand do, it was quiet and swift, just a press briefing, some crisp answers, and that was that. Just as quietly, New Zealand exited from the T20 World Cup with back-to-back losses to Afghanistan and West Indies. Kane Williamson too resigned as captain. But that's not the full story. He's also refused to sign New Zealand's central contract for the year 2024-2025. Williamson says he will still be committed to New Zealand for the big events like the ICC Champions Trophy next year or the Test Championship. Not as captain, of course, but he says he would like to do other things, spend time with his family, and yes, more importantly, there's also cricket around the world in the form of leagues.
Pursuing an overseas opportunity during the New Zealand summer means I'm unable to accept a central contract offer. Playing for New Zealand is something I treasure, and my desire to give back to the team remains undiminished. My life outside cricket has changed, however. Spending more time with my family and enjoying experiences with them at home or abroad is something that's even more important to me.
What started off as a one-off is now fast becoming a bit of a pattern. The way forward for most cricketers in their early 30s, figuring out different goals to keep them at par with the changing and evolving sport. So what were the reasons for Williamson to take this step? New Zealand just got knocked out of the T20 World Cup even before the Super 8s. They seemed completely at sea, which leads me to point number 2. There seems to be a need for a shift in vision and approach. Kane Williamson stepped away as captain in Test previously, and this one too seemed like it was around the corner. He'd been one of the longest standing captains, and yes, there would have been a general feeling all round of a need for change. And that begins at the top. Third, the lucrative leagues around the world. Kane Williamson, like many cricketers who have reached a certain age, realized the need to step away from the rigors and strain that comes with national duty. Now, don't get me wrong, not that there is zero accountability in leagues, but the onus is not only on you. And there are enough leagues waiting to snap up captaincy material who can hold an innings with the bat. In January alone, there are many leagues taking place simultaneously, leading up, of course, to the Champions Trophy. UAE's T20, that starts on the 11th of January. Then, of course, there's the SA20, the league launched in South Africa with IPL franchisee owners invested. Australia will have the BBL, or the Big Bash League. That is set to conclude on the 26th of January. And then, of course, there is the BPL, or the Bangladesh Premier League. So enough action to get in on for Williamson. And this move works monetarily too, especially for Kane Williamson, because I'm going to show a comparison of Williamson's contract in comparison to other captains of top teams in the world. This is based on the press releases of the boards and what it is as of now. If you look at the salary of captains at the top right now of top cricketing nations, of course, there's India, Australia, New Zealand, and as well as England, of course. Pat Cummins is the highest paid captain. In fact, based on reports last year, he's set to now scale the $3 million mark. Jos Buttler comes in after that. He's signed up a 2-year deal, though, with that amount being a contract-free per annum. The one a little over $1 million being a per annum contract for Jos Buttler. Rohit Sharma comes in right after that with a central contract of an A+ grade that guarantees him around $900,000 and then we have Kane Williamson with less than $500,000 per annum. And if you look at the pay that they get per ODI match, and each of these captains get around, of course, Jos Buttler and Pat Cummins top that list. Rohit comes in a close third, nearly $10,000 for him per match, per one day that is, and Williamson earns around $2,400. Of course, the standard and cost of living differs, but it also is about how much you can make in what period of time. So it wouldn't be unfair for Kane Williamson to look at leagues where he'll end up earning more for a limited window, a limited time frame and number of matches. In fact, Williamson at this point earns more than half of what he gets via the central contract for just 2 months of the IPL, the Indian Premier League, and he did not even play a match for a season. Imagine playing some more leagues and, of course, being available for certain events for New Zealand. Monetarily, Williamson earns much more, and of course, there's always cricket round the year. A win-win for him. He isn't just relying on his national commitments. Unlike India, New Zealand do not play that much of cricket in a year. But where does this leave New Zealand as a cricketing country? They are at crossroads now, with most of their cricketers, especially in the T20 setup, in their early 30s. Trent Boult has quit. Lockie Ferguson, another pace bowler, has refused the central contract too. So isn't it time then to invest in more young talent like Rachin Ravindra, so that the question mark of who next doesn't arise? Williamson has had a glorious career with the Black Caps. He's led them to World Cup finals, even though the regret of not winning one will always be there. But Williamson is saying, what he's saying is that his goalpost has shifted. You need to survive and you need to figure a way that works best for you. And after putting his team above him all these years, he's now decided to put himself above the rest. Cristiano Ronaldo, an icon, a legend and Portugal's hero over the years, a record breaker. Ronaldo became the first player to feature in 6 Euros when Portugal took on Czech Republic last night. A journey that started in 2004 with a Euros trophy in 2016 as captain. So clearly when Ronaldo plays, the hype is real, as fans in Leipzig were displaying.
Auf der anderen Seite des Zaunses auch schön, ihr Seagraves. Ihr tut euch die Wege, wenn ihr nicht verletzt seid.
right? Everyone wants a piece of him, but it's not just fans who've been going gaga about this. FIFA, world football's governing body, have echoed these sentiments by posting this, a picture of Ronaldo with the caption "Thala for a reason," with Ronaldo's jersey number 7. Of course, for those who did not quite get this reference, FIFA was comparing Ronaldo to former India cricket captain and legendary sportsperson MS Dhoni, who shares the same jersey number 7. He's called Thala. It's a term of endearment that means king, the head of the clan, and that's the status MS Dhoni enjoys, who also made a record appearance for his IPL franchise this year, the Chennai Super Kings. FIFA were announcing football legend Ronaldo as Thala, the king, playing his 6th Euros. Unfortunately, that's where the similarities end. While fans and critics feel MS Dhoni can never give up, never stop playing, I doubt Ronaldo is garnering that sort of support, especially after last night. Because as the world waited to witness another chapter in his storied career so far, fans geared up for another Ronaldo masterclass. It ended up being a bit of a forgetful night for the Portuguese captain. Portugal ended up winning the match, yes, 2-1 against Czech Republic, thankfully, but Ronaldo failed to score a goal. He had his chances, 3 of them, which is what makes this all a tough pill to swallow. 2 from close range, which were denied by the goalkeeper, and 1 free kick. But that wasn't the worst part. At one point, with scores level, it looked like the match was headed to a draw. 21-year-old substitute Francisco Conceição scored the winner. A 6th-ranked Portugal had crawled its way somehow to win over 36th-ranked Czech Republic. That was a shocker. Is Ronaldo still capable of being the driving force behind Portugal's campaign this Euros, is the question. Or is his presence becoming a bit of a problem? Former Manchester City player David James, an expert in Sony Sports, highlighted this very issue while speaking to us ahead of the Euros.
If I can bring Ronaldo into this conversation, and more aptly, their success in the Euros 4 years ago, they actually succeeded when he was off the field. The point being is that he was part of the group and he's the main person that people talk about, but the team were able to function without him, even if he was supporting on the sidelines.
James pretty much saying that Ronaldo is possibly pulling Portugal down. Now, Ronaldo is a superstar and has been exceptional for Saudi club Al Nassr this year. He was the highest goal scorer in the league, but can you really compare the competition in the league to that in the Euros? Also, that same goal-scoring performance has been missing somewhere for Portugal. Football expert and commentator on Sony Sports broadcasting the Euros, Mark Seagraves, pointed that out even before the Euros began.
Portugal have got Ronaldo as their main striker at 39 years of age, having played in the Saudi League for 2 years, not competitive at all. Then I think Portugal can be in a little bit of trouble.
The thing is, it's a sensitive topic and one where emotions run high. Given Ronaldo's legacy, his clout, his status, it will be hard to bench him, and we have seen the consequences of it in the past. When Ronaldo was benched during the World Cup quarter-final between Portugal and Morocco, the then coach Fernando Santos faced a lot of heat from fans, and with Portugal's exit, all the blame was placed on Santos and he was promptly sacked. The system in Portugal works that way. Now, I understand Ronaldo's commitment to Portugal is unwavering, but football is a game of evolution. The emergence of young stars signals a natural progression in team dynamics. So far this Euros, we've seen Jamal Musiala shine for Germany, Lamine Yamal taking the center stage for Spain, and yesterday too, it was a 21-year-old Conceição saving Portugal from what could have been an embarrassing result for Portugal. So clearly, the team needs to look at this from that narrative. At 39, Ronaldo isn't the same force as he once was. He plays as a striker, which compromises Portugal's front line. During his Real Madrid days, he used to create chances outside the box, and thereafter, he has featured in teams that have allowed him to flourish as a number 9. But in Portugal, Ronaldo doesn't have that leverage. In the Portugal setup, Ronaldo plays in a position that requires him to score, and if he doesn't, Portugal will be in trouble. It's a lockjam situation with no solution but a substitution. He did have a seamless game though yesterday. There were moments of brilliance there, but it was just that, with no real returns. Bottom line, if Ronaldo needs to play, then he needs to score. Could this reliance on Ronaldo be holding back promising young forwards like João Felix and Gonzalo Ramos? These players have shown promise but lack consistent playing time because of Ronaldo's presence. Now, Portugal is forced to play the balance act of paying heed to Ronaldo's legacy and nurturing the next generation, the next in line. Because picture this, a scenario where Portugal's attack is led by Felix, Ramos and other rising stars. This could be the winning formula for future tournaments. Ronaldo's leadership and experience is an invaluable asset to the team, no doubt, but it comes at a price. Former Manchester City expert Terry Phelan has a solve for this.
He's in there because of his experience, and you know, Ronaldo coming on maybe in that 70th minute, popping a couple of goals in. He can do it. He's still fit. He's still strong. We see him on YouTube videos. He's still like a 22-year-old.
Well, it's easy to say this from the outside because ultimately the decision rests with Portugal. But here's the thing, it can't be a unilateral one. Such a call needs to be taken with Ronaldo on their side, him on board. They need to come up with a plan that he accepts too. There is no other way. In a culture that celebrates stardom, the price to pay for all the glories that the star has given is to make him take the decision of how to move forward here on. The Chennai IPL franchise left the decision of whether to captain, whether to keep or even play solely on MS Dhoni, the man who led them to countless trophies and wins. Portugal will have to do the same with Ronaldo, and they need to arrive at it with single-minded focus and soon.
That's a nice shot from Stuart Hook. He batted well in the last match as well, made 37 or 28.
What you're seeing right now is, of course, an Indian origin cricketer breaking the record that Chris Gayle set. No, the match wasn't taking place in India. It was, believe it or not, in Cyprus, Europe. And the player wasn't part of top teams like England, Ireland, Scotland or the Netherlands. But it was an Estonian batter, Sahil Chauhan. He smashed the quickest T20 century in 27 balls against Cyprus during a bilateral. Chauhan overtook universe boss Chris Gayle's 30-ball ton. While the world was focused on cricket going on to the Americas with the T20 World Cup, Chauhan has brought Europe into the picture with this impressive knock. And with the interest in cricket peaking in America, can we see a surge in some of the associate countries in Europe? And what could be the reason for this? A report.
It's pretty clear cricket does not belong to just a few countries who've been playing it for decades. Because the sport is making waves beyond its traditional strongholds. It all started with the ICC's decision to take the T20 World Cup to America. But that wasn't the end of the expansion. Cricket is set to take over Europe by storm. Estonia batter Sahil Chauhan's record-breaking ton has brought Europe and cricket into sharp focus. It came in a bilateral series between Estonia and Cyprus. But the 144 or 41 balls with 18 sixes has got everyone talking. He didn't just surpass Chris Gayle, but is also the leader of a list that has the likes of Rishabh Pant and the universe boss, something Chauhan will always cherish. With the T20 World Cup Europe qualifier set to take place in August, Chauhan's innings has set the wheels in motion. So can Europe be the next destination for cricket? We say yes. And here's why. The biggest reason, the subcontinent diaspora. Many European countries have seen an influx of immigrants from the subcontinent, who also brought their passion and skills for cricket along. Indian expatriates are not only playing but also coaching and promoting cricket in their new home countries. In various European national squads, a significant percentage of players have subcontinent heritage. Let's look at the top teams in Europe who are vying for a place in the 2026 T20 World Cup. Spain's national team is mostly subcontinent players. So too is the case with more than half of Cyprus's squad. Italy and Estonia have a decent percentage too. But that isn't the only factor taking cricket to the next level in these uncharted territories. Take the USA team. There are players with international pedigree and caliber who have represented countries at the highest level like Corey Anderson. Cricket in Europe is also attracting international talent. Aussie cricketer Joe Burns is now playing for Italy. His presence adds a key dimension to European cricket and is bound to elevate the level of cricket in Europe. And his international experience is perfect for others to learn from. We have seen international cricketers jumping countries. Eoin Morgan went from Ireland to England, Dirk Nannes first played for Netherlands and then Australia, but going from a cricketing nation to an associate one is much better. The cricketer becomes part of the reason for the sport to flourish and take wings. The global appeal of cricket is growing, and Europe embracing this sport could prove to be a game changer. As more countries develop competitive teams and try to build relevant infrastructure, cricket's global footprint could expand significantly. So what does all this mean for the future of cricket as a global sport? Could the migration of the subcontinental talent and international players moving to Europe pave the way for cricket's expansion beyond the usual destinations? Because until cricket moved to the US, nobody knew how threatening the American team could be. But now we have a star in Saurabh Netravalkar, and the USA are in the Super 8s of the T20 World Cup. And maybe Sahil Chauhan can be another Netravalkar in the making.
Time for last serve. Turkish fans celebrated their team's victory over Georgia. It felt like the country had won the Euros. Take a look at the crazy celebrations. That wraps up Firstpost here today. I'll see you again tomorrow with more fresh perspectives from the world of sports. Till then, bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsav Parekh and here are the top